Did you guys know that in Canada, the lockdown measures, anything to do with public health orders, does not apply to any level of government? This is wild. In Winnipeg, there's a news article that came out that employee governments were using an exclusive gym that the government provides to their employees. And so, of course, people were calling them out to say, why is it that employees of the government can go and work out with gyms? Meanwhile, all of our other businesses are shut down, or we're being forced to lock down. Yet, and we can't go to our own gyms, which we deem essential, but it's okay for you and it's not okay for us. And the chief medical officer for Manitoba came on video, and I'm going to show it to you in a second, to say that they are not going to tell governments how to operate and how to function. Think about that for a second. They're not going to tell a government what to do or how to do it. It's okay for them to tell us what to do and how to do it, but for them, the rule does not apply. It is a do as we say, not as we do. And we saw this past December. How many members of parliament went out of the country to go to California, go to St. Bart's, go to the Bahamas, have vacation time. Meanwhile, they're telling us that it is so dangerous that we can't leave the country. I don't know what's different about them. Are they superior humans than us? Are they more immune? Or do they just know things that we don't? Why are they unafraid to get on a plane? That's a whole other question. They're telling us not to do it, but if this was so deadly to actually stay locked down, you would think that the ones that are imposing these lockdowns and enforcing them would also listen themselves and do the same. But we are under a do as we say, not as we do. And so listen to this. The chief medical officer for Manitoba specifically says that the order does not apply to governments. Watch this.
Our next set of questions comes from Joe at Global News. The city of Winnipeg has been operating its in-house gyms exclusively for employees during the level red. The city says it got permission to do so from the province. Can you confirm the city was given permission and why?
So we weren't given, specific permission. Our public health orders don't apply to any levels of government. So they don't apply to federal, provincial, or municipal governments. So, so I am aware of health inspectors had visited some of these gyms and found them safe. But the real issue, they weren't given an exemption outside of the order. The order itself doesn't apply to governments.
Second question, so why can't small apartments or condo or family gyms operate following the same guidelines used by the city?
Well, this is the same thing about how quickly we open things up, right? It always comes down to this. So we expect governments to be able to regulate, and so we're not going to tell governments how they function. And so if, they feel that they could have a limited capacity and run these gyms for their employees for certain reasons, then we're not regulating that. When we open it up to the public, then it becomes many, many more Manitobans involved in it, many, many more centers. And so it's, again, we're getting back to where we were in October and November. We constantly hear from Manitobans, from businesses about how safe their operation is. And I certainly don't doubt their efforts and the protocols they have. It's just that where were we in October and November? Everyone was doing their best. Everyone was committed. But despite that, we saw that dramatic climb in our numbers. And so we're doing this cautiously. This here is a specific situation, but our orders right from the very first public health order we wrote does not apply to governments.
And we're seeing this over and over again, not just even within our own Canadian government. We're seeing it all across the states. Biden's first day in office, and he puts forward an executive order that mandates mask wearing on all federal grounds. Yet, for some reason, it's not applicable to him and his family. And his press secretary says it's because he was celebrating with his family. Well, what about all of us that want to celebrate together our birthdays, at Christmas, and like look at the governor of California who says you're on strict lockdowns, but it's okay for him to go out and have a dinner party with his friends, which in that event had more than even 10 people. Nancy Pelosi going to go get her hair done unmasked as well, while all other businesses are being locked down, but she's allowed to go get her hair done. It just doesn't add up. And every day that goes on that we don't speak up and we don't stand up for our freedoms and liberties, they're being stripped. It's like I'm watching Canada every day become more communist, and it's unbelievable, like how our freedoms are just being stripped. Think about where we were 1 year ago today, still in January. Think of what you could do, what you couldn't do, and how quickly in 12 months our lives have changed in front of us. It's not okay. And as Canadians, we need to really start speaking up and coming together and uniting together to take back our freedoms and liberties, because this is not as deadly and serious as they are trying to propaganda us with the fear to make us believe. Otherwise, they would be listening to the very things that they're mandating. Why are the public health orders not applicable to government officials?